In this training, we're going to take a look at how to use my portal when you're working with me to identify properties that you're interested in or that we need to work on in one way or another. First of all, I'll show you how to identify clusters. Then I'll show you how to use the information in the portal to review the specific house information. And third, I'm going to show you how to identify those homes that you're interested in and leave notes for me that I could later review and decide what to do about the property. So this is probably a type of an email that you would receive from me when you have a login into my portal. You have a click here link of some kind. When you click on click here link, you're going to see the houses probably displayed like this or like this. So when you first log into my portal, you don't see them mapped out on the map. Most likely you're going to see them like this. So for you to identify clusters, so let's talk about clusters. When we're looking at clusters, whether it's clusters of expired and canceled listings or clusters of cold homes that are not selling very fast, what I'm talking about is creating a geographical orientation of where the clusters are located. How do we do that? We use this little map, folded map symbol, we click on it, and it opens up this additional view of a map. Once you see the additional view of the map, the clusters are very easy to identify. So for example, this is definitely a cluster. This seems to be a cluster. These seem to be a cluster, and so on and so forth. So any property that are too close together to be a simple coincidence are what I would consider a cluster. Okay, so you ask me, well, if I want to know where this cluster is, where in Saginaw is the cluster? I'm hoping I'm not butchering the name. Where is that cluster located? How can I find it? Well, you use the plus navigation. So you can just zoom in and zoom out. So you use the map just like you use Google Map, right? Okay. Now, when we zoom in enough, we can see that the crossroads, what the crossroads are, and if there is a subdivision name for this location, then we will also see the subdivision name at some point. Okay. If you want to know more information about a specific house in the cluster, all you do is you click on that house and it should highlight this house now with this blue ridge. At least it is for me blue, maybe it's different color for you. So you can definitely read about different homes. By clicking on them, it immediately takes you to the additional information. If you're interested in that house, you can click on here. So now we're going into part 2 of this training. What information can we learn about the house? Other than its pretty picture, we can also see all kind of information that might be important for our search. The dimensions of the rooms, the square footage, the HOA type, the acreage, types of high schools, etc., etc. So scroll all the way to the end of the screen so you don't miss any important information. If you think that this specific house has some value to your search, maybe you want to visit it, maybe you want to pull up additional details, maybe you want me to ask me to contact the owner and see if he would be open to you know, reviewing your information and maybe selling it to you if it's an off-market property, then what you do is don't send me an email, don't send me emails about properties that you see in my portal, and don't text me about property that you see in my portal, because it makes it very difficult for me to find pieces of information in my text. Facebook, there's just too much scattered pieces of communication that make me feel like I'm missing some information about the property. So keep all the information about a specific property in the portal in which you found it, where you and I can easily see the chain of our correspondence. How would you do that? Let's just say that you're interested in this house and you think that it could be a potential opportunity for us to approach an owner who is currently not selling but could be open to selling. Okay, how would you do that? In my portal, when you're inside of the property view, you click right here where it says notes for you and your agent, and you type in a note, for example, it could say, could we check with the owners about selling? Something like that, something that a direct question that I can take action on. And then once I take action on, I will respond to you from my side in the same portal. So once you open the portal, you can just quickly review the links, I mean, not links, but the notes for the property, and we can brush up on what we discussed or what I was able to find out. This is it for now. That was a training on my portal and how to use it in order to communicate with me more concisely and more accurately about the property that you're interested in. Again, if we go to back to the results from here, we're going to see our clusters. Okay, so let's talk about hotspots. I haven't touched on hotspots and cold spots. So what are cold spots? Not hotspots in your case, but cold spots. Cold spots are geographically clustered homes that are too close together to be randomly, to be picked out randomly. Therefore, for example, this would be a cluster. So when I ask you, can you find clusters for me? You can say, I see a cluster in the north, west part of Bluemount, for example, or in Saginaw. And then you can either take a snapshot. So if you are on your cell phone, or if you're in your laptop, you can use whatever program that you're currently using to take screenshots. You can take a screenshot of this area and send it to me and maybe make annotations on it. So this would be a cluster. What else could be a cluster? This could be a cluster. So let's just say that you want to find out what do the properties look like in this cluster. You navigate to the cluster and you start to look at the subdivision. So this one is in Willow, Meadow Creek, some kind of other meadow, lots of meadows. What you're going to do maybe is to jump into your car, drive to Willow Creek and Meadow Creek and the surrounding areas and see what's in that area. Why do you think there is a cluster? Is there anything that you can visually identify that helps to explain why a cluster of cold properties or expired properties has formed there? But regardless of why it's formed there, do you feel comfortable in that area? I recommend that wherever you see a cluster, you go ahead and drive the area of the cluster and see what you can spot and see how much you like the area. Okay, this is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later.